Hi there, and welcome to today's lesson. So, you want to sound more fluent in English? Well, it's not just about having a big vocabulary or getting your grammar perfect. One of the most powerful tools for sounding natural and confident is how your speech flows. And a big part of that comes down to linking words. These little phrases, also known as discourse markers, help you connect ideas, guide your listener, and speak smoothly, just like native speakers do. In this lesson, we're going to explore everyday linking phrases, not the stiff, overly formal ones from essays, but the natural, relaxed ones you hear in real conversations. Let's break them down into categories and go through them together, with plenty of examples along the way. Adding more information. Let's start with phrases that help you add something extra to your point. What's more? This adds extra detail, often something impressive or beneficial. Her designs are beautiful. What's more, she makes them all by hand. He speaks 5 languages. What's more, he learned them all before he turned 18. On top of that, we use this when we're stacking up details, especially if something is getting better or worse. The flight was delayed for hours. On top of that, they lost my luggage. The hotel has a rooftop pool. On top of that, it's open 24/7. Not to mention, this brings up something important that hasn't been mentioned yet. He's funny and smart, not to mention extremely polite. The place was dirty and overpriced, not to mention the staff were rude. Showing contrast or balance. Next up, let's look at how to show contrast or balance two ideas. That said, this one softens the contrast. You're acknowledging one thing, but adding a new twist. I enjoy city life. That said, sometimes I miss the quiet countryside. She's a great manager. That said, her communication style could be better. Even so, use this when something is still true, even if the previous statement might make you think otherwise. The weather was terrible. Even so, we had a great time. He didn't study much. Even so, he passed with flying colors. Mind you, this one's a little more casual. It adds a detail that softens or qualifies your previous statement. He was late again. Mind you, he did call ahead this time. The hotel was nice. Mind you, the location wasn't the best. Still, a classic contrast marker. It introduces something unexpected or surprising. It was risky. Still, I think it was worth trying. It wasn't my favorite movie. Still, I'm glad I watched it. Clarifying or rephrasing. Sometimes we need to restate or explain ourselves better. Here's how to do that naturally. In other words, perfect when you want to explain something in a simpler or clearer way. He ghosted her. In other words, he just disappeared without a word. We need to start over. In other words, scrap everything and begin again. I mean, very common in speech. Use it to clarify, correct, or emphasize. It was a disaster. I mean, nothing worked the way it should have. It's a bit risky. I mean, we don't have all the data yet. You know what I mean? This one builds connection and checks that your listener is following you. It just feels off. You know what I mean? The vibe was just off. You know what I mean? To put it another way, a handy tool when you want to rephrase an idea more clearly. We're not making enough money. To put it another way, we're losing clients. You're not investing in yourself. To put it another way, you're standing still. Explaining results or conclusions. Let's look at how to wrap up ideas or explain why something happened. That's why. Simple and direct, it shows the reason. I wasn't prepared. That's why I failed the test. She's been practicing daily. That's why she's improved so quickly. After all, this one justifies or defends what you're saying by reminding someone of a relevant fact. Let her decide. After all, it's her birthday. Don't be too hard on him. After all, he's just a kid. As a result, use this when one thing leads directly to another. There was heavy rain. As a result, the event was canceled. The company rebranded. As a result, sales went up by 40%. So there you go. This is great for wrapping things up casually and clearly. It's free, easy to use, and super effective. So there you go. It's user-friendly, affordable, and stylish. So there you go. The perfect choice. Changing topics or shifting focus. Finally, here are some phrases for changing the subject or shifting the conversation. By the way, use this to bring up something unrelated to the current topic. By the way, did you talk to Alex about the budget? By the way, did you get that email I sent? Anyway, helps bring the conversation back on track or move on. Anyway, like I was saying, we'll meet at 5. Anyway, let's not get distracted. Back to the report. Speaking of, this links what you're about to say to what was just mentioned. Speaking of books, have you read the new one by Zadie Smith? Speaking of vacations, are you still planning that trip to Italy? Now then, a nice way to resume or begin a new topic. Slightly formal, but still friendly. Now then, let's talk about your next steps. Now then, where were we before the phone rang? Final thoughts. So there you go. 19 linking phrases that don't require any tricky grammar rules, but will absolutely boost your fluency. Use them to add ideas, show contrast, clarify your message, wrap things up, shift focus smoothly. Try listening to conversations or podcasts and spot these phrases. Then, practice using them out loud. Bit by bit, they'll start to feel natural, and before you know it, you'll sound more fluent, more confident, and more like a native speaker. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next lesson.